Hi, welcome back to Zen Jen Pet Specialist. Today, I have a very special guest. I have Tracey from Dreamwinds Farm, and Tracey's going to share with us about something called Equine Assisted Learning. And this is a program that's built to bring horses and humans together in a very magical way. So I'm very excited. Welcome, Tracey.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So I want to start by saying that I have a lot of respect for you. I think very highly of you, not only because I love the program that you run with the horses helping humans, but I also think you're a fantastic horsewoman. So a lot of respect, and I really appreciate what you're doing and that you're here today to share this with everybody. So I want to start off with letting people know.
Oh, thank
kind
you.
of, yeah, you're welcome. Where you came from and how you ended up in this horse business.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to share my story. It's a little bit of a interesting twist of journey for myself. I had come up through the ranks in a corporate career and was really focused on, my next promotion and all that great title. I had finished my MBA and was really climbing the corporate ladder. And I realized that I had nothing for myself. And it was at that time I decided to take a riding lesson because I had loved and admired horses my entire life. I was the horse girl that never got the pony. Mm-hmm. And so here I was in adulthood. I was in my early 30s and I thought, I'm going to take a lesson. Now's the time. I have the means and opportunity that I never had before. And this lesson just led me on this journey of passion. In my very first lesson, I didn't want to leave the barn, just learning how to groom this horse, even if I never sat in the saddle. It was just remarkable and magical for me. So within a few weeks, I had 3 lessons a week. Within a few months, I part boarded a horse. And within 10 months, I bought my beautiful 5-year-old thoroughbred off the track, Oliver. And he was an absolute life changer for me. He was very spirited under saddle, but beautiful on the ground. And I took a horsemanship clinic so that we could figure each other out and have this great partnership. And I learned that the reason we were having challenges under saddle was I wasn't his leader in his eyes. And I learned so much about my own leadership in this 45-minute session. Sorry, my dog only ever barks when I'm on Zoom. And, and I learned so much about my leadership through this session. It just was such an eye-opener for me because he was telling me throughout this entire session that my leadership wasn't what he needed. I wasn't confident. I wasn't clear. I wasn't being consistent. And so being able to understand that about myself and really owning what I was bringing to the table, just that so many bells went off in my head. I was really focused on being a great leader at work. I always wanted to work for great leaders, obviously. And I knew then that my horse could teach that better than I ever could in my corporate world that I was trying to do. So it was 9 years I dreamed of this career. And 9 years later, I was VP of marketing at American Express. I had decided now was the time. I'd had enough of that corporate life and could do more from the outside. I got my certification and I opened Dreamwinds Equine Assisted Learning Center with the goal of running team building and leadership programs. And it has just grown and flourished from that day.
That's incredible. I love that you're bringing in that, first of all, that you took the time and had the knowledge and will to build a partnership with your horse, which I don't think a lot of people do, right? But it's so important because horses need a leader, but they also want a partnership. Like they work so well together with you when you've got your stuff together, right? So you opened up.
Absolutely.
And you started this incredible business. Did you go through some sort of training? Like, how did you know that this is the where to go? And how did you find people to help you start this?
Yeah, I had done quite a bit of research because there are a number of different modalities out there for equine assisted learning. Some of them take a more spiritual and intuitive approach, and some of them take a more logical, sort of objective-based approach. And I found Tracey Farms in Saskatchewan, and they had built this incredible curriculum of objective-based exercises. So each exercise had been tested and developed through research and was really focused on creating skills and helping people develop those life skills that help them thrive. Looking at it from a corporate perspective, I knew I needed something very logical, very easy to follow, and that would guarantee me results. And so I knew they weren't going to come here to feel their inner leader. They were really looking for training and experience that was going to shape their leadership and shape their team. And this was a perfect fit for me. And it literally I had experience in the corporate world. I had my horse knowledge and my horsemanship knowledge, but I didn't have that. What am I going to do in the arena? And this literally was a business in a box. I went, I got trained, I brought this curriculum home, and within weeks, I had planned my courses, and within a couple of months, I was running them.
That's amazing. So this is something that's existed. I don't know that it's as widespread or as known as I think it should be. And I have heard of I think another program is called Feels. What I really did like about your program was the logic behind it. It kind of appeals and can work for anybody. You know, you didn't have to be spiritual or intuitive or any of these things. It was like, you're really marketing to everybody. It's quite, I really liked that. I found that great. And as someone, I came to one of your, I think it was called a ladies' night. And I got to come and experience this experience. And as someone who grew up with horses, I kind of came there thinking, I'm not going to really learn anything new. I kind of know it all, which some of us horse people are like. But I walked away mind blown. Like, I couldn't believe what I learned about myself, what I learned about horses. So regardless of your experience in horsemanship, this will teach you something you don't know. I find it just incredible. And it works for people who are terrified of horses, and it works for people who are very well experienced with horses. So I find that fascinating. So you got your certification. And so can you just walk us through, say, like I just said, I came to one of these ladies' nights. Can you just explain to us, what the goal of these little experiences are?
Yeah, for sure. And ladies' night is a great example because it's one of those programs where it really shows the flexibility of the curriculum. So as I said, I took the curriculum training to do corporate team building, but it's so applicable across so many different things. So essentially what happens is we welcome our clients, and we do and our evening, often in my particular facility, starts in our boardroom, and we do an introduction to equine assisted learning and share with them, get them to think about the topic that we're going to talk about that day. So in a ladies' night, it might be personal leadership or leading your family. It might be more of a personal development kind of focus on building confidence or resiliency. It depends. It really flexes and flows depending on the evening, but I choose the exercises that will fit that. And with the ladies' night, we'll start with a briefing. We'll get them talking about those pieces. And then it's right down into the arena because the magic happens with my horses. Ours is a exercise, obstacle-based type of program. So each, we would have maybe 5 or 6 or 8 obstacles in the arena, depending on how many people there are and the length of the program. And each person would be working with their horse in a small group, going through these obstacles focused on that specific objective. So for example, if we were doing a trust exercise, we would have somebody blindfolded with a horse, or a couple of people blindfolded with a horse, and they would have sighted leaders that use their communication to navigate their partners safely through the program. So there's that trust building, there's communication, people finding their voice, people sharing what they need and really understanding communication styles. I mean, the gold that comes out of some of those, that simple exercise is just extraordinary. And then at the end of that, once they've gone through this amazing experience with the horses, and we've shared, we've had some question and answer, just getting to the bottom of what they learned and what they experienced. Because our job as a facilitator is just to guide the journey. For everyone, it can be very different. We'll have an objective in mind, but how they get there and what they learn along the way is very individual. And then at the end, we kind of wrap it up with a debriefing to really share that learning broadly across the group, and choose a word on what really focused in on what they got out of that evening. And it's really incredible. We have had 5-star reviews consistently from every single person that's walked into our arena for the last 9 years.
Yeah, I believe
so we're
it.
very proud of that. It's very impactful.
Yes, I think the part that really got me was the blindfolding, because all of a sudden you become so vulnerable. And now you're like trusting. I came by myself. I know a lot of people come with someone they know, couples night, ladies night. I came by myself, so I didn't know the people. So now I'm like having to trust strangers, and I'm having to lead a horse blindfolded. Like it was, I felt so vulnerable, but I learned, am I good at listening to people and taking instructions, or am I better at giving the instructions? And you learn your style, and you learn that not everybody hears the same, and not everybody, teaches or leads the same. And it just kind of opened up that window of like, yeah, we really are unique. And can we can we adjust our sales to kind of help someone else? And it was just so much fun, and you learn so much about yourself that you don't even expect. So I find that fascinating. And the part that I kind of want to move into now is, let's talk to people who maybe have some horses. And we mentioned this before we started recording, horses are an investment. They cost money. It's great if you can start making money on them. And so how could somebody, bring this business to their horses, to their farm?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do offer, I was fortunate enough to have taken my certification with Cartier Farms, and then about 4 years later, actually partnered with them to offer the program here in Ontario. And we do travel as well. So I've been to various other parts of the country and the world. And essentially what we do is we offer a 5-day certification that provides them all the training on the fundamentals of equine assisted learning, the very specific curriculum that has been developed and proven to be very effective across multiple audiences and markets. And then they'll get all the details on the form of delivery and the essentials for running your programs, how to manage groups, how to deal with conflict. And then a really important piece of that also is, how do you choose your horses and keep them well schooled and loving their job? Because we want these horses to be in this for a long time and for a good time. So making sure that our horses are equipped and suitable for the program is really important. We also couple that with very hands-on experience. So we only spend the mornings in the classroom, and in the afternoon, we are hands-on with clients and with each other, actually going through the exercises and experiencing the exercises so they can see it from both sides and practice those facilitation skills. It's an extremely robust 5 days. It's a very comprehensive training, but then I also offer coaching following that, because not everybody has the business acumen to run a business. And I get that. Horse lovers and business don't always come together. So I love to do the coaching after that. They get a 12-week coaching program with me. They get 2 hours of one-on-one time. They get access to me through our coaching portal, which is our Facebook group. They get access to all of the graduates there. So it's a real community that we've built, which I'm so proud of, because it's a very supportive community. One of the most important things to us is to really instill in our graduates that this is not a competitive environment. We'll have people who certify within, a kilometer of each other. And the concern is always, well, someone's already doing it, but they're not doing it like you do it. I don't know very many that are doing corporate training. Some people are working really focused on special needs. Others are very focused on PTSD. We have a number of psychotherapists and counselors and social workers that take it, that actually use it to augment their therapy approach. And others that are doing school programs and, ladies' nights, date nights. So the uniqueness of it is it makes it very personal, obviously, but it also tells you that your market is a lot bigger than just 1 or 2 farms. And there's no one that can't benefit from the program. So we also, in our 5-day session, do a half day on marketing and how to get started. And then, of course, the coaching picks up on that to provide much more. We have an advanced program for those that want to continue learning that is very optional. We run workshops in the different areas of personal, professional, and business development. So personal program and business development. So they can pick and choose what matters to them, and they get points for everything they do. If people are trying to achieve a different level, they can do that. If they're just looking to get information and training in a specific area, that's fine too. So we're trying to be a real center of excellence for EAL training, and that's really customized to our graduates so they get what they need. Now, you had mentioned about bringing it to their own farm, and many of our graduates do that, but a resounding number of our graduates actually have no horses and no farm. And they structure their business where they actually lease the farms, or they'll rent the space at their boarding facility or at a local facility that they can connect to, and they'll lease the horses as they need them. Now, the beautiful part about that, especially as we go through a global pandemic where our programs are up and down and our numbers of people that can come through shift and ebb and flow, they're only paying for those expenses of the horses and facility when they need them, versus having that overhead 24/7. So it's really nice way to start, so that when you grow your business, you can grow it with your lower expenses. And when you're ready, then you can, invest in those horses or invest in the property if that's your goal. But you never have to take it to that level if you don't want.
Yeah, that's amazing, because there's so many people out there that love horses and love helping humans, but
Mhm.
maybe not have the facility. So this is a great alternative for them. And yeah, no overhead, that's a really great way to approach it. So during
Yeah.
COVID, are you able to continue running your certification program? Have you had to modify the way it works?
We've done a couple of things. So last March, we actually shut down 2 days before my very first certification of the year was going to start. So
Mm,
within 2 days, we brought the classroom portion online. And we
wow.
continued the training that very week that everyone had planned to come here, because everyone's excited, right? These are
Mhm.
dream seekers that are taking
Yeah.
this program. They're ready to get their programs off the ground. So we wanted to keep the momentum going for those that were interested. And everyone signed up for our online portion. And then we delivered the remainder of the training in a 2.5 day intensive facilitator in hand training or in person training to actually complete the certification and write the exam. And we were really surprised by the feedback that we got on that and just how effective it was, that we've continued that this year, even in the absence of really needing it so far.
Oh, good.
So last summer, we were able to run our programs in their entirety, and into the fall, right through to November, we did all of our in-person programs just as planned. And then this year, we ran our March program. Everything was going along tickety boo. And last Friday, of course, the latest Ontario shutdown has quieted us down again. We haven't been able to run anything this week,
Mm.
and for the next 6 weeks, I guess. So it does put my next May program into a little bit of question. So whether or not we go online for that, and or just delay it, and will be up to the participants who've already registered to see what will work best for them. But we've been able to be really flexible and accommodate everybody in the way they want. I've had resounding interest in the program. I think people are either sitting at home not doing the jobs that they love, or they're realizing, wow, this kind of stuff can hit any time. Or they're also
Mhm.
recognizing when this is over, there's going to be a massive need. When I look at
Yeah.
the corporate teams that have been, working virtually, which is not the standard for them, when you look at the mental health challenges that isolation and this pandemic has created across every demographic, our
Yeah.
horses are going to be here and ready and willing to help bring people back together and help put people back together, so that we can continue to thrive in the shadow of all of this.
So speaking of horses, let's talk a little bit about the horses involved in this. Is there an ideal horse? Is it something that a horse needs to be trained to do? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. I often get that question, what's the perfect EAL horse? And I'm like, I'll let you know when I find it.
Yeah.
Because horses are horses.
Yeah.
And part of the reason that this program works so well is because there are so many parallels between horses and humans, their social structure, how they communicate, what they need from leadership, what they need from communication. There's so many different parallels. And as we choose our horses, we really want, the program itself is really, really leveraging those instincts, less than a trained kind of focus, right? Like, I don't want my horses to look at my obstacles and go, oh, there's a glove, I need to step on that. I want my horses to be responding to people in their natural way. So our focus is on really making sure we're finding safe horses that are desensitized to other stimuli. So if you have a horse that's not suitable to EAL, or a young horse, for example, a plastic bag in the arena is going to set them off a little bit. They're going to be a bit more nervous. They might move a little quicker. And that's not ideal. We want to desensitize them to those things so that they feel safe in the environment and they're safe for our people to handle. And then other than that, we want them to respond naturally as much as possible. So if they're not getting the communication that they need, I want them to choose whether or not they work for that person or how their body language responds to them. If they're not getting the leadership they want, I want them to choose if they follow or not. And that's because that's my job, is to interpret the horse's behavior, and how that horse is responding to you. It gives me all kinds of insights on what's happening with you as a person, both from your behaviors as well as internally, because they get a layer below our emotions oftentimes, and will call us out on the stuff that we're trying to avoid and ignore. And
Yes.
and again, I don't do the therapy side of things, but some of that will be some major aha moments for people.
Absolutely.
I will say I've had greater challenges finding good EAL horses than I have good riding horses. They are a very, very special animal.
Okay.
And they're all different. So there's not one kind of horse you want. You want multiple personalities, but I always joke, not in one horse, in multiple horses. And you want them to enjoy the program. So from my experience, the ones that really shine in this program are the ones that are people horses. They want to be with people. They're not so much about the herd. They're more about the social interaction. So they enjoy people. They communicate more actively. They have to be really safe and of sound mind. And we have what we train people on is our testing checklist, which takes you through a number of different tests with the horses to see if they're going to be suitable and tolerant of this work. Because the reality is they're going to be working with people who aren't horse people. Mm-hmm. So it's one thing for me to grab the lead shank and test a horse and say, oh, he's perfect. But I already have some innate like muscle memory on how to lead a horse and how to build confidence in a horse, but my clients don't. 99% of my clients have never touched a horse, let alone led a horse or had them cooperate with a horse. So it's really important that that horse can tolerate, inappropriate assertiveness, for example, because people will push a horse in a different way than I would push a horse. They don't, and people who are fearful are going to respond differently than those that have confidence. So for me, it's really important to help people get over that fear before we even get into the first obstacle. And we've had great success with that. And the people who come in fearful have the most profound experiences that they'll never forget, because suddenly they're leading a horse and this horse is cooperating. And as we go through the exercises, you'll see the horse and human come together, and you'll watch them struggle in the first obstacle. But by the third obstacle, now suddenly they're becoming a team. And by the fifth obstacle, they're a well-oiled machine. And it's really neat. The bonds that people create with the horses are really something. So you want that horse to be relaxed, calm, stable-minded. Obviously, we don't hire kickers, biters, buckers, all those guys. They stay in the field. But yeah, the variety is really important. We have big ones. I don't have minis, but I have graduates who have only minis or many minis. My horses are generally 15 hands and above, and most of mine are actually 17, 18 hands, because I'm dealing with adults. I like that intimidation factor. Yeah. My big Clydesdale is the star of the show, because people think they're going to have a Jurassic Park experience when my 2,000-pound Clydesdale comes in the room, but he's a gentle giant. Yeah. And so they have great success, and he's a great confidence builder. But yeah, safety is number one always, but then you want that horse that's going to really enjoy that interaction. And my horses get right into it. They'll play, they'll pick up pylons, they'll give people the gears, and then when someone gets it right, they change that behavior right away. And that's how the learning sticks. Because you're like, oh, I'm not getting it. And suddenly you do. And that horse responds and rewards you in such a profound way that you're like, oh, I need my shoulders back. I need to stand tall. I need to project my voice more. I need to be clear. I've been giving him mixed signals, whatever it is. But when they get it right, it's just pure magic.
Yeah, it is incredible how the horse responds. And this is, like you said, it's almost a natural thing. You've got to find the right horse that's willing to do this work. And it's so intuitive. They're so intuitive and talking back to us and teaching us in that way. That's just so mind blowing. And what I love about it too, from a horse's perspective, is that there's very little expectations from them other than for them to be a horse. When so many other horse industries or modalities that we're doing, there's so much expectation on the horse. You get on, you ride your horse, you have expectations, right? Where this is like, just be the horse and you'll do a good job. And it's just your horses in particular, like I could really feel that they took their job seriously. They liked their job. They had fun with what they were doing. And I'm sure they have days where they're not as into it or don't want to, like we all do, but it's such a different way to work with the horse. Nobody's riding the horse. So this is all groundwork. So make that clear for people, right? Nobody's getting on a horse's back. Right. They're in halters and leads. There's no tack. Like it's simple, allowing the horse to just be. And it's so profound. I think it's incredible. Yeah. Really incredible.
Thank you.
Anything else you want people to know? You want to tell us your website and where they can go, and if they have any questions, anything else you want to add to this?
Yeah, for sure. I'll just add quickly, because you had mentioned about the interaction with people. I think one of the biggest unique things about our program is the horses make you self-reflect. So we spend all day trying to get people to do what we need them to do. As riders, we get the horse to do what we spend a lot of time telling. And this program really flips it around and says, when something's not working for me, what do I need to change? We're not focused on fixing the horse. We're focused on fixing ourselves. And when we can start to get that information really ingrained in our brain and transfer that to humans, it changes the conversation. It changes relationships profoundly, because if you think about communication style differences, we get frustrated when someone's not understanding. And we often think, what part don't they understand? Like, why is this so difficult for them?
Yeah.
But if we really step back and go, what am I saying that's not landing? How can I change what I'm saying or how I'm saying it to meet their needs? It transforms relationships. And that's really our goal, is to help leaders self-reflect on their abilities and their impact on their team, partners, friends, family, all that good stuff. So to find out more, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that not only does that really great for like business, that kind, the human, but if you're someone who rides horses, it works the same way. If you're trying to get your horse to do something and they're not doing it, it's not your horse. You want to stop and say, how can I approach this different with my horse? What is it my horse needs and I'm not giving them? It's a completely different way to move through life, period. Or, it's a nice way to stop, and it's about me. What can I do different? And I think that's really, really
exactly
key. Yeah. Really, really important.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, tell us your website.
Stop telling, start asking.
Yes, exactly. Right. I love it.
Yeah, so my website is www.dreamwinds.ca. We also have a Facebook page, Dreamwinds Equine Assisted Learning. We're on Instagram as Dreamwinds EAL. We have a Twitter handle, Dreamwinds EAL. So please connect with us any way you like. And certainly you can email me as well through our website to get any information on our programs and receive our information packages, or set up time to talk to me. I always love to talk EAL. So anybody who wants to set up a consultation or a phone call, I'm more than happy to share information and help them kind of navigate the world, especially if you're looking for certification. There's lots of choices. So I can help you kind of decipher between those choices and make sure you're choosing the right path for you, which may or may not be our program. And I'm happy to direct people in the right direction, because it's important that you follow your passion and that the program really meets your values and helps you, build the programs that you want to run.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a note to anybody owning a business and looking for team building stuff. This is so good. And it's so unique. Like your employees aren't doing things like this. And so it's so amazing. So if you're a business looking for team building stuff, when we have the ability to get together again, I highly recommend this. So I'm going to ask you one last question that I want to leave people with. You had mentioned that at the end of the experience they have with you, you get everybody to say a word to kind of sum up. What's like the most common word you hear people come out with? What is it they're the most common one?
It sort of, I'd say it wavers between communication and confidence.
Yes.
They tend to really get a good grasp on how their communication style is, or how communication affects their relationships, affects their team, affects the horse, and confidence, because a lot of my folks come in with fear or anxiety or a little bit of trepidation about working with horses, and they just leave so empowered.
Yeah. And not even if they have a fear of horses. If you are someone who suffers with anxiety just in life, if going out in public, this will help you. This helps change that. And I always say to people, horses are here to teach us those two things. So I'm not surprised those are the words: communication and confidence. They will build your confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'll point out where you need to work and change yourself. And so if people can approach the relationship with horses that way and begin to communicate with them in that level, it'll just boost them throughout their whole life, and in all areas of life, I should say. So that's amazing. So
absolutely.
Anybody who's interested in this, go to dreamwinds.ca. I'll put the links in the description so people can click. And you've got a Facebook page as well. They can head on over there and spend some time and talk with you and learn. Thank you, Tracey, so much for joining me today and sharing this information.
Well, thank you, Jen. It's been an absolute pleasure and always fun to talk EAL all day long.
Yes.
So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you.